Hi, I am Dr. Kishore Chandra Revatkar, a faculty in Department of Physics, Dr. Ambedkar College, Diksha Bhumi, Nagpur. Today I am talking and expressing my views and idea about the 21st century higher education in India perspective. Before I start with my presentation, I came to know that the 1,000+ faculties from various colleges have registered for this particular faculty development program organized by Jhulelal Institute of Technology. So let me congratulate the institution for achieving this milestone, and at the outset I express my thanks, my gratitude to the organizer, and in particular Dr. Debashish Bhomik, for giving me an opportunity to share my views and ideas about the higher education in India and what will be the future education and education policy in India, which I am trying to put forth my views and my ideas. As the COVID-19, or we can say that the coronavirus, has put us in a house arrest. Most of us are at home from last 2 months, and we were on the verge of completion of the syllabus, but due to this particular pandemic disease, we have been struck at home. So but we are trying our level best, and we are giving the students through internet by some or other software or applications, but that was not enough because we are not trained in that sense. But anyway, we have to think very seriously about this particular thing, because this pandemic has made us seriously think about what will be the future and what will be the perspective of the education. Now we can start with this, that as we are all teacher, all we are faculty, I am calling it ourselves as a teacher. So many a times we think that by bearing a sound knowledge and transferring the knowledge to the students is enough. But many times, I am sorry to say that most of the times we think that we are transferring the knowledge, but the education system is not so. That collection of data, collection of information, and just passing to the students, this is what we limit ourselves and limit our systems. Our present educational system do not allow the students to have wisdom and knowledge. So if we think about what are the qualities of a teacher, then we can say that the quality of a teacher is to be very important, that he or she should be a knowledge learner, expertise in subject. He or she should make the students to think. But unfortunately, like at the junior up to junior level, there are educational degrees. The teacher is given a training how to teach, how to deal with the students, and how to deal with the student psychology, how to pass on the information, pass on the knowledge to the students. They were made to clear the B.Ed degree or D.Ed degree. But at senior level, from UG level, you see, then there is no such degree level. We acquire PhD or higher qualification, but that do not teach us how to deal with the students, how to communicate with the students. And now we have to think about how we can invest our time in professional development. This is very important. Now if we talk about the communication skill, then earlier it was said that it was jokingly said, it was a joke amongst the teachers, that one who lecture the students is a lecturer, now assistant professor. One who reads the notes is a reader, now associate professor. And one who do not teach, one who do not lecture or read is a professor, now the senior professor. But it is not so. We need to develop ourselves professionally, and we have to communicate. We have to think about a student-centered pedagogy. We have to think about the relevance of the course. We have to think about how we can share our power, knowledge power, we can say that. And we need to be competent in the subject. Merely acquiring any degree, merely acquiring any higher degree like a PhD or so, doesn't mean that we have competent knowledge, we have good knowledge so that we can teach the students, and we should be able to explain, to demonstrate, to inspire the students, and should impart a real time education. This is very important thing which I think so, that unless we do not acquire these qualities, we cannot communicate with the. So this is a very famous quotation, that destroying any nation does not require the use of atomic bombs or the use of long range missiles. It only requires lowering the quality of education and allowing cheating in the examination by the students. These words above were posted for contemplation at the entrance of the gate of university in South Africa. It went on saying again further that patients die at the hands of such doctors, buildings collapse at the hands of such engineers, money is lost at the hands of such economists and accountants, humanity dies at the hands of such religious scholars, and justice is lost at the hands of such judges. So the collapse of education system is the collapse of nation. So what we think that education system in India is? The education system in India, I divided into three parts. How do we teach teach? How do we teach? Most of the times the teacher has given the assignment to complete the curriculum, complete the course, and in short, complete the syllabus. The teacher feels very satisfied if he or she completes the syllabus. But does it so? Merely completing the content and delivering the content to the students doesn't mean that we have in real sense doing the teaching and learning process. And now if we go to how do we teach? How do we teach? Just we go inside the class, then we just deliver whatever content we know about that particular topic, and then in the form of assignment and this and that, we just ask students to do it. And how do we assess the students? The examination system, as we all know, that the students were allowed to sit for 3 hours, then they can just write down the papers and submit it, wherein they do not allow their real knowledge to reflect from that. And somewhere very sad picture in some part of the India, that during the examination the outsiders are allowed to supply the what you can call this system. But this is a sad picture and it is a reality in India. Now so what do we teach? A bulky syllabus. Many a times we have seen that some of the contents in the syllabus are not to the point, are not scientifically written, are not scientifically mentioned, and it is very bulky. Unnecessarily the syllabus content that has been increased, many outdated topics that has been incorporated, gap between the students and the learner. What we taught and what the student learned, we don't know, a teacher don't know. Then there is no regular revision. Once we complete the syllabus, then we do not think about the revision, that's it. Because from last 3-4 years we have the semester pattern. In semester pattern, hardly student get 2 months of time to sit inside the class. But in the 2 months of time, we all know that the syllabus is not being covered. But somehow we can manage, we can do the completion of the syllabus, because that way we are very smart. Then lack of coordination between the school and the college education or the content. Whatever that has been taught at the school level, there is no coordination or no upgradation of the knowledge at the college level. Now, as you all know, Professor C.N.R. Rao once at a Rashtrapati Bhavan, he has said that 90% of Indian university have the outdated curriculum. I am really sorry to say that, but we should have the same situation in almost all universities in India. Now, how do we teach? Focus on examination only, because from examination point of view we can teach only students. Now if you see the situation at the 12th standards, what has been happening, that the students only, instead of selecting the college, students select the classes, coaching classes, where the students be taught to score the high grade marks only. So no challenges to the students thinking ability. The student need not have to think about it. He has to think, or she has to think about only the marks. No focus on the activity based learning. Absolutely not. In science some practicals are there, but again there is no such activity wherein the students can learn in a real sense, and focus on learning, but how to learn. Now if you see that, if we think about the learning process, that it should be a multi-level learning process. Now at present we ask the students to remember that we can call it as a rote learning, and then we say that you understand this much part. We do not allow them, or we do not allow their mind to apply it, to analyze it, to evaluate, and to create it, to create something out of this learning process. This is the situation in most of the universities. Now, how do we assess students or examination system in India? It must reflect the effect of teaching learning process. At present, it is not so. Genuine understanding of the subject and merely mugging up information. Hardly any understanding about the topic or a subject that has been taught. Most of the times the stress is being given on the rote learning or mugging up of the information. Then assessment should drive learning. Hardly it happens in the universities. It must differentiate students of different level of understanding and competence. Assessment process should be more scientific. It should encourage multiple skill of the students, so that, because in a class there are students with a different ability. Some students are average, some students are little bit having a higher understanding, and some students are superior. But the education do not allow the superior students to get something more and the average students to learn it. We are taking all in a one stroke. Now, for getting a better education, we need to think about the innovation and creativity. Now, creativity is a pillar of the innovation. As we all know, the creativity, conceiving new idea, while innovation, implementation of the new ideas to create new product, process or services. Innovation is the key to any nation's development. Now, there is a little bit confusion between the creativity and innovation. Now, creativity is the capability or act of conceiving something original or unusual. It is about harnessing the power of mind to conceive new ideas, plans, thought experiments, while innovation is the implementation of something new. It is something that has never been made before or recognized as product of some unique insight. It can be incremental or. To live a creative life, we must lose our fear of being wrong, rightly said by Joseph Chilton Pierce. Now, the innovation is about putting your creative ideas into action. We all know this electric bulb which was invented. A great physicist, Thomas Alva Edison, who was known for his attitude. I remember a story about Thomas Alva Edison. At the age of 62, his research laboratory burnt off, and he was standing beside the people who were gathered to extinguish the fire. And somebody asked that everybody is trying to extinguish the fire, and it is your lab, then why not you try to? He said that all my mistakes that has been burned. Such an attitude of Thomas Alva Edison. And after that, after 5 years, he has invented the electric. So to continue with the same points of creativity and innovations, I think there should be a 10 strategies for increasing your creativity and innovation. That it should be A truly creative people have developed their ability to observe and to use all of their senses, which can get dull over time. So we need to sharpen our blade. That is very important, that we have to think once again that whatever knowledge I have gained about the subject or the topic, whether there is any additions, we need to add every time in our knowledge bank. Then the innovation is based on this knowledge. So therefore you need to continually expand your knowledge base, read things you do not normally read. And today this particular ability of reading we have lost. Most of the times we are engaged with a small device that is called as a mobile phone. Many a times we are keeping our mind engaged, and because of that the reading habit that has been almost gone. So it is very important that a teacher has to read continuously something new. Knowledge has to add every time. Your perception may limit your reasoning. Be careful about how you are perceiving things. In other words, defer judgment. Practice guided imagery so you can see a concept come into life. This is also very important. Let your ideas incubate by taking a break from them. It is also necessary. One has to think. Experience as much as you can. Exposure, put more ideas into your subconscious mind. Treat patterns as part of the problem. Recognizing a new pattern is very useful, but be careful not it become a part of it. Redefine the problem completely. Many times we think that the one of the lies I have been sharing for the past few decades is your problem is not the problem. Many times we think that, and there is another problem. When you define that real problem, you can solve it and move on. Look where others aren't looking to see what aren't seeing. This is a famous quote by Edwin Schrödinger, who has developed the quantum mechanical equation time dependent and time independent. Maybe the physics faculty know about the Schrödinger's. So many times we come up with several ideas and start innovating, and then we come up with more ideas and never get a single idea done. So we keep on thinking and thinking. We can start with some idea, then we leave it, then we think about some other idea, then we have to complete the job at the hand. Then only we can jump over to the next. So these are some of the well-known inventors of the time, real time we can say that. So they have not that kind of the education which today we have got, but only because of their attitude, only because of their innovation, their creativity they have developed. As I said that Thomas Alva was the inventor of the light bulb. So tell you about the telephone also, Graham Bell. Then George Washington Carver, he is an African scientist who has developed 300 different applications of a peanut, which we call a monkey peas also. Then you can see here Nikola Tesla was well known for the magnetism, effect of magnetism. Then about baseball, everybody knows about the Steve Jobs. Everybody like Apple phone. Why? What is so special about the Apple? All the features which are there in the Apple are also in the other phones also. But why we are preferring? Because of the so many invention. If you think, if you look at the Apple phone, then you can start with the charging pin, and then other thing it will be different. And that is why they are, even though they are costly, but most of the people prefer, high strata people prefer the Apple phone. This is what we can say about the innovation and creativity. Similarly, the Lady Larmor, one who has guided the radio guidance system, okay, cordless system, you can say that. Now then, in the Indian scenario, we know that in 1930, Raman has been awarded a Nobel Prize for his discovery of Raman effect. He is the first Indian Nobel laureate who has been awarded the Nobel Prize in physics for his work on the scattering of the light, or we can say that the Raman effect. Now after that, there are only 3 non-residential Indian. They are not residential Indian. They are non-residential Indian. Professor Hargobind Khurana in 1968 he has received the Nobel Prize. Then Professor S. Chandrasekhar for Chandrasekhar limit in black body radiation. He has received in 1983, and in 2009 the Professor Venkatraman in chemistry they have received. Now this after 1930, why not we have any Nobel laureate in our country? Can we think about where we are lacking in the research? Now in present scenario, if we see about the research, then in any university or in our, if we consider the example of our Nagpur University, every year about 300 to 500 plus teachers been awarded with the PhD degree. But does getting PhD degree means a real research? No, I don't think so. Because to excel in research, we require the attitude, and we are having a very low attitude, or I say we don't have the attitude, real attitude to do a research. Then we lack in perception, creativity, accept responsibility. We are not motivated to do research. Master self-management, interdependent, self-awareness, believe in lifelong learning. Believe in yourself. This is very important. We first of all do not believe in ourselves. Whatever the problem that has been assigned by the guide will be carried out. We never dare to ask a question that why this particular problem been given to me, because we are lacking a lot of reading. Everything we try to search only on the mobile phone or the Alibaba's cave, like a Google app, anything we want, but we never try to read a good research paper. If you consider 30 years back, if you just go 30 years back, when we were young, we have started our research. That time we have to get the research, to get any research paper, we have to write down to the INSTOC, National Information Center, which was at Delhi, and we have to write them, then we have to send the money, and then they used to send the Xerox copy of the paper. Then after getting a 10 research paper, hardly one paper was of any use for us, but still we used to pursue the research. We used to go there in the library, sit, find out the different kind of the journals and take down. Now any research paper we can get at the click of one press button, but how we can use that research paper? We never read it. Simply getting the paper, or rather I say we have developed the attitude of just copying, and so this copy paste doesn't have any importance in the research arena at the world level. If you see, the India is yet to make a mark in the publication. If you see the number of publications Indian faculty or Indian scientists publicating at the world scenario, if you see, the Switzerland, Ireland, Denmark, or these European countries are topping the number of research publication, and the total citation per 1,000 citizens right hand scale if you consider, then the maximum number of citation for in a 1,000 if you consider, then 73.8% citation will be obtained by the Switzerland. And where is India? Can you see here? Yes, it is here. Almost 0.1%. 0.1 in 1,000, 0.1% people are getting citation. Does it mean that Indians are not good at research? No. If you compare ourselves, our research citation or our research paper with the China, then China is far away from us. They are having good research. We have started 10 years back. If you think, the China and India were standing on the same platform. Now China has surpassed us in the research to the Indian scientists. Now if you consider in a research, the quantity is not important. The quality, that is very important. Quantity not important. Quality marks the science education in India. If I compare the scale on a one scale, suppose one scale, then average education expenditure per primary and secondary students, it will be, if it will be 1, so then Norway will be topping here, and where we are 0.07 in comparison with, so how much it will be? 1 upon 100, so 0.07, 1 by like that you can say that. Then researchers per 1000 population, if we consider per 1000, so then the Finland has a 1 point, then we have 0.02. Now government expenditure on research and development, if you compare per capita, then Korea will be putting forth a lot of money on the research by the government, and we are having only 0.23. Now government funding of university research projects per capita, if you see, if we consider Singapore at a 1 point scale, then we are at 0.03 scale. Then science graduate per 1000 population, then New Zealand is having a maximum number of graduate, and we are having 0.84. So such is the scenario. So because the kind of research that we are put forth, now we can see in this slide. So this is a Statistica. I took this slide from the Statistica presentation. Then you can see the global share, 20.67% China's publications here in scientific publications, their papers are accepted. If you compare this 5 lakh paper, in comparison with this, we are having only 1,35,788 papers. But this number is a global share. If you compare that on an average, if 5,000 papers from China been published in a month, then hardly we publish less than 50 plus and less than 100. This is the situation of research in the India. So why we are lacking here? Because we are having the lack of research innovation. We don't have improving science technology education, science-based technology education, and increasing focus on practical approach. We do not give any importance to the practical approach in India for the learning. And indigenous production, we are lacking there. Then the most important, we do not have, or we do not practice the problem solving approach. So India has the third largest scientific and technical manpower in the world. Maximum number of Indians are outside. Why do they prefer the outside countries? Why do they want to work it? This is $1 million questions, and we all know the solution for that. I don't want to speak anything about it. Now the technology is going to play a major role in enhancing the quality of education in the 21st century. We are going in the education at the 4G speed, total technology mediated education system. Now many times government has taken initiative in developing the online courses like a MOOC, everybody knows, mass online open access courses. So there are many agencies like IGNOU, NIIT, EduCart, Excel, Soft, and like that there are 100 such online agencies are there who are giving the online education, but I don't know how far it will be useful for us. Just for the sake of degree, we are admitting ourselves for such kind of the courses. We have to think about it. Now to go with this, if you consider this, there are about 200 plus skills certifications are there, but how far these skill certificates are helpful to the faculties or to the persons who are doing these courses is again a question mark. Now the use of e-learning is the need of the hour. This is very important that every faculty, everybody, even I can say that a rickshaw puller also has to think about e-learning. It doesn't mean that simply working on a mobile phone doesn't mean that we are knowing the illness. There are different kind of the softwares and this and that we need to develop. Now let me tell you something about this. We all know about the Ola cabs. We know all about the Ubers. This Bhavish Agrawal has developed that app, and he is the co-founder of that Ola cab. Then Fanindra Sama is a founder of Redbus. Look at their faces and the age. Richa Kar, the founder of Jivami. Then Deep Karla, who has developed the Make My Trip. They are all the founder. You can see their faces. They are not that much old, but they have developed that because they have the passion and they have the creativity and they have the innovation. So definitely we can also think about it, provided that way if we train ourselves. Now, what all the students need for the success in the 21st century, for getting a success in 21st century with a different scenario, then disciplinary knowledge and skilled communicator, and if we lack over here, then we may have to import some Chinese communicator in the 21st century to teach our students, but then again that will be a very pathetic situation, which I think we need to think out of the box. That is very important. If we think only the syllabus and curriculum and not trying to think out of it, then we will be thrown away of the system. A critical thinker and problem solver, not merely as a teacher, not merely as a faculty, not merely as a provider of the knowledge, but we should have to be a critical thinking and the problem solving. Sense of inquiry. Many times if we complete our class, we ask any questions, no students. We need to inquire that why not the students are posing the questions. That is very important. So here I give you a comparison between a traditional teacher and learner and a 21st century learner. Sit and get. Earlier traditionally we used to do that in most of the art faculty. This used to happen. They never used to stand in front of the blackboard. Then move and experiment. Learner and receptor. Learner and initiator. Instead of receptor, it should one should be a initiator. Expectation save for all. Students movigates choices. Teachers tell, students construct meaning. This is very important. Product oriented, process and product oriented. Paper and pencil driven, technology enhanced learning and multimedia driven. No limit. Here explicit directions, isolations learning, private, shared, globally collaborators. We have to think like how we can collaborate at the global level. Then complaint, no. Problem solver, answer and primary, answers and question and primary. Then closed system, it should be an open system that anybody can listen you, anybody can sit in your class globally with the help of the internet. Stayed the same, changes constantly. If we do not change, the system will change you. No facts, we should inquire about it. There is a right way, no right way, and wait for result, immediate gratification. And a teacher should be a planner of 21st century career, a resource provider, a digital instructor for different ways of learning, a learning facilitator, a technology lover for learning, then digital learner for the lifetime, and a genuine predictor. This is very important. So a role of teacher in this coming century, that a techno savvy teacher in ICT skill, we have to learn. We cannot say put any lame excuses. Manage virtual classroom and online discussion. This is very important. One should try this, then only we can develop a skill of giving the virtual giving the lecture virtually. Then proficiency in development e-content. This is also important. We have to develop the content on the internet, so that the students can download and we can have the discussion forum also. So it doesn't matter how many resources you have. Simply this picture is a self-explanatory. If you do not know how to use it, even if this distance we cannot cover, we cannot cross the gap, so then it will be never. So we should be important that how we can use the resources. Many times I have seen that many students of the PhD students keep on crying that we don't have the sophisticated laboratory instrumentation, we don't have this, we don't have that, we don't have like that, we don't have this. But at present, if I say about the science, there are so many good laboratory in India and even globally which can have the access to the students. They have to write down a free access, but we should know how to use these resources. That is very important. Today we have the heaviest load that we can carry our thoughts in our heads. We have a lot of information, we have a lot of data, but we are not a critical thinker, we are not an innovator. So we have to change this picture. This is very important. So I think these are some of the tips that you don't have a problems. Basically, we don't have a problem. You are the problem. We ourselves are the problem. We have to develop an attitude so that we can excel in that skill. So like a traffic signal, we have to stop. A valuable lesson that traffic signal teaches us, that every problem, a red signal, think over that problem. If you wait for some time, it will turn green. So we can solve the problem. So if we stop, we think about it, then we can solve the problem. So for that we require the attitude. Now and we need to introspect regularly from time to time. We have to think about our strength, we have to think about our weaknesses, opportunity, that we need to do SWOT analysis. That is very important for the teacher as a professional. Then we need to have the confidence. Many times, unfortunately, there is no vaccine, no medicine, no injection, no tablet that if it is been consumed, if it is been taken, so we can have the confidence like a lion. No, we do not have. So self-confidence is the best outfit. Rock it and own it. That is important. Then sticks and stones are thrown only at the fruit-bearing trees. So don't worry, keep moving and go ahead. The sky is the limit. So it is the excellence is never an accident. Yes, and it is the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligence, direction, skillful execution, and the vision to see the obstacle, and very important, the opportunity. Time is the coin of your life and it is in your hand. You have only one coin with you. You have to decide how to utilize and spoil it. So if you do this, if you think this, then you will come up as a superior faculty in the 21st century. So I know that you have a lot of questions in your mind. You can ask all those questions to the organizer through they will convey me the questions and I can give the answer to your all the queries or all the questions. Hope you have liked my lecture. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you once again the organizer for this golden opportunity.